Today on the Bearded Picker Live, we talked about who does the top level thinking within your business. Guys, if you are not working on your business, then you're working in your business. When you're working in your business, you are trading time for money. Who does the top level thinking within your business? That's the question we try to answer today on the Bearded Picker Morning Show.
Yes.
I love me a little CVS.
All right, we are live this morning. Someone has invaded the cave out here. They said maybe John will go live this morning. Really? Yeah, he's live, like next to me live.
No,
I think everybody already knew that, though.
If you really want to capitalize on it, you should have both been live at the same time on both channels.
We were going to go to we were actually on our way to go to a Walmart and carry on again and look at another clearance row. We're like, let's stop by Best Buy because we bought the wrong thing for the camera. And when I sat in the van, I'd already started thinking, oh God, I'm tired.
So did I.
And then John said he walked into the air conditioning again and Best Buy, and he's like, it just hit me. We need to go home.
And now my wife is in the back of the van, like all excited because she's going out shopping. We got the Best Buy. I had to exchange some batteries for this GoPro that I bought, and we're like, we're going home now. She's like, no, stop pulling my leg. I'm like, no, really.
She said,
she's still inside talking to Joni about it right now. Like they cheated me out of shopping.
No, she said she got gypped.
Gypped.
Yeah.
I got gypped.
Oh.
But the time she got to spend riding with us, that was worth it.
Because she's not going to get to ride in the car much lately, right?
Listen, it's been nuts since we got here. We had his brother was here yesterday all day with us, hanging out. Then Harlan
came over.
Harlan came over for supper last night. We went and got barbecue. So it's just been, it's been nonstop laughing and giggling here. It's been a great time.
The question is, did Harlan come in his police uniform?
No, he actually came straight from his parents' house. His dad had another back surgery yesterday.
Oh.
And, so everybody who's been praying for Harlan's dad, thank you. Everything went well. This one was more, the disc was more protruded into the spine than the other one. So he's got some weakness still in his leg, but before the surgery he had no function in that leg. So he's because when it went, he was in a lot of pain. So I think Harlan said that they got his dad home about 3:30, and so he got everything settled. And his parents live halfway between. Harlan's like 8 miles from here. His parents are like right in the middle. They're like 4 miles from me and 4 miles from him.
By the way, I see Jim and Tara in the chat. That was a funny video that they did the other day. With I loved it.
Yeah.
If you're not subscribed to them, go do it because they could use the subscribers.
Jim's one of the funniest guys. The way he tells a story and his just
Sleeping Beauty's here too.
Who was Sleeping Beauty?
DG Picker.
DG Picker, yeah, Sleeping Beauty. I had actually thought about going up and dealing with all the Shopkos, but their video kind of reinforced. They were showing some of the stuff and all this stuff. A lot of times when these stores are at the last day, they got some stuff that was good, and they got a lot of stuff that they're going, what the hell? It was a penny. What the hell? Or it was a nickel.
They did really
good. So much stuff that I kept thinking, oh my God, I couldn't process that on the road, and I'd bring back boxes of the stuff that I wouldn't know what to do with. Yeah.
You guys are hilarious.
I made a lot of money at Shopko. For those of you who haven't figured out yet, Shopko was the originator of the ass pads.
Yeah.
For those of you who hadn't figured that out,
what is a Shopko?
It is like a miniature scale down Kmart that was in the Midwest, starting in Illinois and going all the way to Wyoming. They had a couple hundred locations, I mean, they had a pharmacy, they had a grocery store, grocery section. I mean, it was like a Kmart. It was like the footprint of a. Imagine stuff from Kmart and half of a. Like Lauren is saying, it's a mix between Kmart and Kohl's because they had clothes and they had video games. I know the Thrifton Brothers destroyed.
I'm sure they did.
They absolutely destroyed I mean, not now, not when they're going out of business, but you know, they would shop because they do like they had a lot of Kmart. It felt like Kmart because they put all their toys on clearance. They put a lot of stuff. They use a lot of the same business practices that you think of at Kmart.
They actually had online though, because I did buy some toys from them online a few times.
So the trip that I made, where I went all the way to South Dakota and then cut down to Colorado, I guess 8 months ago, and all through Kansas where I got pulled over, that was all specifically for Shopkos. I went to every Shopko in Kansas, and I went to half of them in Nebraska.
That was one of the first times somebody recognized you right at the hotel.
Yeah, that guy recognized me at the hotel, and I think it was like Norton, Kansas or somewhere.
That's freaky when somebody does that.
I mean, I'm in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and somebody recognized me.
I was at a show the first time it happened to me, I was in New Orleans. And I hear somebody yell, "I know that voice." And I'm like, "Oh, the hell you talking?" I was in, there's nothing around in the convention center of New Orleans at that end. It was an empty section of the convention center, and somebody yells out, "I know that voice." I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, for those of you who are up that way, there are still, if you can go online and find a list of their closings on Shopko, a lot of them close on the 14th. So there's still some stores that you have the ability to go and hit the last few days. I think Tara and Jim were telling me that they go up to like 90%, like the last couple of days, but most of the stuff is still in the 70 range. They didn't find hardly any 90, but the very last day they go 90%, and then in the last couple hours it's fill a basket for $20.
Just get this stuff out of our store.
Yeah, because we've only got a couple hours left. What the hell are we going to do? And so that's where they made the biggest chunk of their haul was. I don't know how many baskets they filled up, but so you still have the ability if you have Shopkos near you to take advantage of.
We don't have any here, unfortunately.
And I think someone was telling me, it might have been Jim. I don't know if it was them, but some of the stores, even though they're scheduled to close on like the 14th, they've been pushing it a day or two. So, Day Tripper, yes, any item over $250, I add insurance and signature.
I don't sell a lot of items in that range, so now I think eBay's rule is what, $750? It has to be $750 for signature confirmation, but if you feel better about it.
NASCAR man said his Rite Aid, where he's at, is 90% off. The last day is today. That was probably one that Walgreens bought.
Yeah.
And that'd be specific areas. They bought half the stores, 2,300. They bought most of the ones in the South, so we've already gone through all that. There's only one store or two stores left, and maybe it's two in Alabama. There's one in Birmingham and one in Tuscaloosa. That's it. Tennessee's got like 7 left. Georgia has very few too. Mississippi has none.
We don't have any here.
Yeah, the ones in Kentucky are going away too. Virginia, parts of Virginia are going away, and North Carolina is down from 300 to maybe 50. So
yeah, we don't have a single one here.
Yeah, so it's good.
We don't have any in Florida, I don't think.
No.
Florida, CVS bought them out.
Most of the northern Rite Aids would still be open. So anything above.
The biggest section that they're staying open are the north and out west. Los Angeles has about 600. They're all up and down the west coast. So if you think about it, where Walgreens bought the ones where they are weakest, because they're trying to expand their footprint more to the country. Even though there are Walgreens in the South, it's not like Chicago where you trip over a Walgreens like every block.
Except certain parts of Florida.
No, Florida, because Walgreens bought in at the same time CVS, because I don't think CVS was allowed to buy all the Rite Aid, so they both kind of split them up. Because if you go like to Jacksonville, Florida, there are 49 Walgreens.
Daytona Beach too.
Yeah.
A lot of them there.
Yeah, so take it as these stores are selling out and closing. There's big opportunity. But Shopko is the big one because they had so freaking many. But if you've got them in your area, go to their website, pull down the list, and it'll tell you state by state when they're closing. There are 6 stages. Stage number 6 is the last one coming up on the 14th.
I was in Florida, I don't know, 2 or 3 months back, and I had popped into a Walgreens for something, and they said it was Senior Tuesday, like once a month they had a senior day. Well, so I started popping into several of them that were right around there, but I just was like, now I remember why I don't want to move to Florida. It was every time you pulled into a parking lot, these
Yeah, but this
much
time
older
of year,
than me.
in Florida.
What?
There's nobody in Florida this time of year.
I mean, no, these people like much older than me were like, driving in the parking lot. I either almost got run over or or you're trying to get into the store and you're trying to do a whole bunch of them in one day and somebody's coming past with the walker and it takes 10 minutes to park.
I thought you were about to confess that you were with your people and you had to run away from them. So it's been interesting having John here. The one thing that I made the title of the show, who does the upper level thinking in your business? The business, whether you like it or not, everybody who watches this or in the chat, if you are reselling and you are barely above a hobbyist, you are running a small business. And it is no different. I mean, if you think about the country, Apple and all these big corporations make all the names and they're worth millions and billions of dollars. But truly, the employer of the country, small business is what drives the United States. And you're part of it and that economic engine. And it's extremely important because it functions the same as a larger business. Somebody's got to do the strategic thinking. Who does that in your business? If you're a sole proprietor, who does that in your business? You might want to get a mirror for this answer this question, because whether you like it or not, it's your responsibility to yourself and your business to do that part. And John, the football manager, is the first one to say me. I think a lot of that is missing in my business, and I've seen John. I've seen it. It's easier to see it in someone else because when we first met, I could see it missing in yours, but I could also watch as you grabbed it. And even though I watched as he took the reins up, I would look from back and go, "Oh, it's just me. I'm doing whatever I do." And I never put 2 and 2 together and think, "Hey, dummy, you should be doing the same thing. You don't have to be at the same scale, but you have the planning, the strategic process. You should be doing." Pat, the reseller, said his CEO. I think that's probably you, though, Pat.
Yeah, DG Picker said his is sleeping all the time.
I have 4 letters who does my higher level thinking. WIFE. She's very good at that stuff. I'm not as good.
But if you guys, okay, so before the show, don't miss this point. It doesn't have to be you if you're a team, because I had a show the other morning talking with ladies talking about bundling, and Steve was like, "Man, Marsha thinks we're in a position we can do this kind of stuff." Steve might tell you he's not the one doing that kind of stuff, but some part of his team is. Marsha is thinking that way. It doesn't. If you've got 2 people, Steve's a worker. He'll go out and he's tired right now because he's gone so much.
Yeah, but what happened yesterday to make the title of the show today? That's the part you're missing here. You got to tell them the story behind why you have this title, because it'll play right into Football Manager there, talking about hiring a teenager.
Yeah, well, trying to plan the summer. My son, he'll come off his self-imposed vacation this weekend and start working. I gave him a couple weeks out of school, and I'm trying to figure out who else can help me. And since we moved here, my sister-in-law has asked over and over, I want to do some stuff part-time. I want to do some stuff. And, I found every excuse not to have help. And, so just thinking about what they both can do, and their roles, I had planned for them to do one thing. And yesterday I'm like, maybe trying to teach someone how to do research and everything on a computer is not the easiest road. Maybe it's better that Jacob already knows this and can do this. Maybe it's easier to teach my sister-in-law, stickers, boxes, Amazon, because the processing of Amazon is much easier than, making eBay listings, where you've got to learn how to research. You've got to learn how to price. Jacob did that for a whole summer. Jacob's good at that. Jacob just needs to walk out here and start picking up items. He can, and so someone has to think that way. Somebody has to plan. Somebody has to think through. That was really, I told John, I'm like, I think I've got this backwards. Because I've been thinking about this. I think I need to make this easier on the people that are going to be here. And then he's like, so what are you going to do for the next one? I'm like, well, I'm going to write the plan. He's like, no, you're not. You're the people who are doing the job need to write the steps they take, because you'll forget them. And so it's just, yesterday was a lot of, even though we were carrying on and doing stuff, there was we did
a lot of logistical things. Now, I'm going to tell you what I've seen from my side. It's hard for you to see because he has these walls built around, but back behind where he talks, where I keep telling him to hire a freaking teenager over his left shoulder, there is literally a mountain of stuff.
It's a full pallet. There's a full pallet.
And if you watched the video yesterday where we revealed me and Vanna White pulled out the pallet to show everybody the pallet, he went through this point of time where he said, okay, I'm letting go of the responsibility of all this stuff. I'm going to let my son and my sister-in-law help me clean all this up so that I have more time to focus on things that I need to focus on to grow my business. When he reached that point of, okay, I'm going to let go, the first step of delegation, he said, okay, I'm letting go of this. He stepped back out of his business and he was able to see a lot clearer what needed to be done. Before that, he had Jacob coming out here to work on Amazon because he felt he was going to be able to teach his son better to do Amazon, and that his sister-in-law would help him with the eBay stuff. When he stepped back, he was like, wait a minute, my son already knows how to do eBay. Why am I going to have to teach two people at one time, where now I can just, here, Jacob, here's your X number of items you need to list today. I want these 20 or whatever the numbers, I think you said 24, right, these items listed. And he can focus on, okay, I can use my sister-in-law to separate everything. Here's how you pull the price stickers off. You got to do it real gentle. And he could spend an hour teaching her how to do that, which will save him a lot of time and allow him to do other things to grow his business. But you have to have this, even at Steve's level, and Steve's starting to see it probably. I know Sue is probably a little bit ahead of Scott in the process because she has somebody comes in once a week, and we found out the other day that she has somebody that does her listings for her. So these things, as you do these things, you start to be able to grow, and you step back and you say, oh, if I make this little twist adjustment over here, I get an extra 2 hours over here where I can go out and source or whatever it is you do. And I'm trying to watch the chat because this is the first time I've been, I'm getting used to this 55-inch wall of TV here that I can actually see the room and the chat.
Yeah, the TV, a monitor that was smaller than that was $270. The TV was $199.
Yeah, so I have actually been without my helper for 3 weeks now. 2 weeks was planned, and then when she got back, she ended up getting sick, and
Ugh.
I realized how much a waste of my time it is to process, because there's not really any day I should be processing. I realized, it's. I mean, I don't mean this in a to sound below me or whatever, but I realized it's way below my pay grade. It's not what's making me the money.
No, and that people don't miss what Sue just said. That's worth watching the show. You have to understand where what your specific skill is, that how much, what you're worth, where you make the most money in your business. The other thing.
But
yesterday,
but wait,
we're walking through the garage and John's like, "Get rid of that and that. How much money is it costing you to do 3 hours of yard work that you can pay somebody to do the yard work?" It's the same principle, because what can you, if you gain 3 hours every week, what can you do with those 3 hours? I mean, what's your hourly rate worth that you're pushing a lawnmower? And
that's true. I mean, when we talk about outsourcing, it's not always inside the business.
Yeah, but talk about, I mean, let's back up to Sue now. Sue has this person that comes in and helps her once a week, right? So,
and we process. That's like always processing day.
She works. Let's say Monday she works 8 hours. Okay, I don't know, but let's just say she works 8 hours for you. Sue is paying this woman for 8 hours of labor. So this woman's able to take 8 hours of labor and make some money, and it helps her family too. So it's not just Sue getting help by growing her business. She's able to now add value to this woman and her family. That may be the only day that she can work is Monday, to help her family eat a good meal. So
Hawaii.
well, I don't know, but Scott, Scott's helping another small business by saying, "Hey, once a week you need to come in and take care of my yard."
Yep.
It's not beneath Scott to push a mower. If times were tough and Scott had to get out there and push a mower, Scott's going to push a mower. But he's in a position right now where he has all these things coming available to him. And if he doesn't free up his time to focus on the stuff that's making him the most money, he's doing a disservice not only to the people that he's able to employ, but he's doing a disservice to his family, by not bringing in that income to help.
Hey, I'm Bobby. Thank you for the super chat. It says, "Thanks, game priceless content as always." And this one, Bobby, is I got up this morning. John was already up. He's a early riser, and first question is, "Hey, what's the title of the show?" I'm like, I generally title the show "What's Going On in My Life," and really the awareness and I've known about this, but it's what I'm going through now, and I thought, man, this has got to be. I can't be the only one that really is facing these problems. If a lot of sellers, not everybody's new, and we're thankful for the new and the older sellers that are here, but it's truly can benefit both, because if you're in my position as an experienced seller and haven't done this, you need to think about it. If you're a new seller and you have any aspirations to build full-time income, you're better off thinking about this stuff now and planning your way through it, because it's easier to work into it than it is to go, "Oh my God, I'm here now. What do I do?"
That's where I think I went wrong. And
Steve said this morning, we're discussing these road trips, and listen, they are energy sucks. We're out there, and I did RA for a while. I mean, I chased inventory for years. I chased inventory. And I always joked, I need somebody to do this for me. I need a buyer. Steve said it this morning. I could see where that thought crosses people's minds. So he's already starting to think about the growth possibilities within his business. So now he has to start thinking logically.
Geez, it's so much. We were gone we left at 5:30 in the morning on Tuesday and didn't get home till 10 o'clock at night. And we were just 2 hours away. So it wasn't like we were going across country or anything. And if you could even if you could double that, I love the RA side of things. I love going out on these road trips. It's fun. But let's say I had another person that I could send out in another town, or my wife and I did separate, like, it was such a good deal that she could go to Pittsburgh and I could go to Cleveland or something, you know? Can you imagine the difference? And then to have somebody be able to, the processing thing you were talking about, it took me almost 5 hours yesterday just to process that stuff and get it sent in, because I don't like to have a lot. I don't want to have Scott's problem where all that stuff's hanging behind me. I got to get it in and get it sold. But if I could find somebody who could do that side of things, I could do so much more, you know?
Pat, there's a difference though. We're talking about buying for Amazon is much different than buying for eBay. eBay, that's probably where, you know, your expertise, especially you've been doing this quite a while, Pat, is where your money is made in that side of the business. For Amazon, I'll tell you, if I'm on one of these trips, which I'm considering again, for a quick cash infusion, there's like 11 things I'm buying. I could have somebody in another town, even if I paid them, let's say $15 an hour, and they worked 8 hours. So what's that, $120?
If you pay them $20 an hour because they got car and gas expenses.
I generally pull $2,500 a day on the road, even if they only pulled $1,700 or $1,800, and I paid them $150 for that day. I mean, that's still $1,500 to $1,600 in product when you ship it back to you, or they process it in for it. That you wouldn't have got otherwise, or you'd have had to.
Well,
there's other ways to do it too.
Go ahead, Sue.
There's other ways to do it too. I had another reseller call me the other day and say, there's an item that's gone on sale for $14.99, and I'll pay you $20 for every one you find for me. Yeah. So there's all kinds of ways you could do that.
Absolutely.
Lance Sharp, I knew that was coming up, and I thank you for being the one to ask questions. Does anyone consider hiring a sorcerer for fear of them leaving and do it for themselves?
No.
We not everybody thinks like us. You got to understand that from the point right now. Most people do not think like you do. You are different. You're odd. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you. But most people are very happy with, you know, I have a job and I'm going to go do this. I get paid great to go find this stuff. They don't want the hassle of sending it in or dealing with it. They don't want a hassle of dealing with Amazon. They're very happy with a paycheck.
Yeah.
Understand that there's nothing wrong with that. If that's a person and they're not an entrepreneurial mind and they're very happy with supporting themselves and making a living with a paycheck, perfect. Everybody has that just means they use their time. They want a specific set of time, and then they live their life according to whatever their pleasure is, and that's fine.
If you think about
don't assume everybody thinks like you.
And Liquidation Pros said, and if they leave, you find someone else.
Yeah, because you're not hiring them to do the upper level thinking. You're hiring them to. I've got 12 items in these stores. Go buy them all in your area.
You're giving them a shopping. You know, buying for Amazon retail arbitrage, replen, and buying scanned clearance items are two different beasts. You can build a shopping list to go out. Here's your shopping list. Here's your list of stores you go to, because we already did the BrickSeek work on them for a Walmart item, for a Walmart replen type list. And you go shopping, and their job is a shopper. They don't know why you picked those 12 items. They don't know why you picked those stores. You didn't give them all that information. They are an employee, and you don't really get into the details of it. As time goes on and you become more dependent on them, and they become more dependent on you for an income, they learn. But understand something. You don't do this without money. You got to have money to do this. And a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, and they don't have an extra $50 to go out and buy stuff. And when they try it at home, they buy 2 or 3 items and it don't sell right away because they got a very small inventory and a very small view of buyers looking at their stuff. They go, I can't do this. This is crazy. Let me just keep doing what I'm doing for Scott. I get a nice check.
Yeah, like you said, you're just giving them a shopping list, really. You're not giving them any of the pertinent information, how much this sells for, where I'm selling it. You're not giving them any of that. So if you're hiring somebody to do your sourcing for you, they don't know that you're not selling at a flea market. They don't have to know that.
Well, you can tell them you're selling it on Amazon. Right. It doesn't matter. They still have to know why you bought it, how you do it, how you process it, and all. And if they're just sourcing for you, they're just sourcing. I mean,
yeah, they don't
have to understand. And most people think, give me a job. I want a job. I want that. I want to walk in on Friday. You hand me a check for $400 because I worked all week. I know how much I'm getting on Friday. I know that I can spend $50 on alcohol tonight, drinking at the bar. Tomorrow I can go grocery shopping for $50. However it works.
Yeah, Craig, I wouldn't. I thank you for sincerely thank you for asking the question, because a lot of people think that.
Yeah,
and I understand that's not the way you think, but
but it's a great question to ask in a topic like this, because it brings out the people's fears.
You could think of it the same as Craig has, developed his plugin for Chrome. He could sit there and show me how to do that, and I wouldn't be able to do it, right? So you're hiring a sourcer for maybe a different city that you don't usually get to or something, and you can sit there and show somebody how to do something. Doesn't mean they're going to be able to do it on their own. They can go and buy things. Anybody can go to a store and buy something, but not anybody can do it the way we do it.
Corey, the one thing Corey said makes a good point. A lot of people, and I sourcing is the thrill of the hunt. It's a disease, the treasure hunt. But don't miss what we're talking here. We're talking about a list. We're talking about going out. We're not talking about getting. You still have to be the one to figure out the list and make sure this works before it starts. I'm talking about, I can't get to say I got somebody who will source for me in Louisville, Kentucky, because I can't get there. I'm not saying, I'm eliminating the thrill of the hunt. I'm just saying, in addition to the stuff I find, you pay somebody else to find even more of just these items.
All right. Now I'm going to throw this out there. You like the thrill of the hunt, right?
Correct.
Well, you hunted it down. You have it. You now have a list. You go chase that list, okay?
Because
while I'm still hunting, I'm still doing what I love, which is the thrill of the hunt. He's out there chasing down what he found, and I'm still looking for the new diamond. I'm still constantly chasing my dream of constantly shopping, constantly looking.
Let's tie this all back around to the higher level thinking. Is it the higher level thinking? Is it what you're really good at, the physical act of going to the stores and picking it up, or is it I'm finding the next item to build the next list so that I can have help for people buying? Where you make your money in the sourcing part is the actual identifying, especially Amazon, is identifying which items are profitable and where they are. They're going to pick them up is necessarily not that much fun. It's the oh my God, I can't believe this. And you would actually spend more time of building the list because you're on to the next one.
Yeah, but Steve, I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to call you out here, bud, if you don't mind.
It's fine, man.
Before the show, we were talking about this. You did a trip to Buffalo, right?
A couple of weeks ago, yeah.
It was a great trip, right? You made a lot of money?
Trip. Yep.
What happened to your sales?
They tanked because
you were out there shopping for the product and you weren't looking for what am I going to do next?
No, because we knew what we wanted, and that's all we scan other things, and I've gotten to the point where, okay, now if I find an item, I'm scanning 5 up, 5 down, 5 over, 5, that kind of thing, so that I know what the products surrounding it are going for. You have to have that mentality. But when you find 10 products, then you got a time limit when you're out on the road. I mean, we did 40 stores on Tuesday. Well, you can't do a whole lot of extra scanning when you're in those, because you got to get going. You got to keep going.
But now that you're back and those 10 items are no longer available.
Right. Now what do I got?
Now you got to start all over again for another. Where if you had a buyer and you sent them, here's my credit card, go to Buffalo, you stay in the cheapest, here's the hotels. Plan the whole trip out for them like you did for yourself. Here you go. You could sit at the computer for 10 more items when they come back from Buffalo. Okay, You're headed out towards California now. Here's my credit card. Here's the hotels. Here's the whole plan of the trip. Enjoy. And I'm telling you, you find a 19, 20-year-old kid that's single, they're going to love a trip like that. They get to see the country before they, I'm not saying if you want to, if your thrill is to do all that traveling yourself, go for it.
I like the traveling, but it wears on you.
Yeah.
And we're going to the same places over and over and over again. And I've talked about it before. It just, how many of the same store can I see in a day and do that? Because we did that 4-day trip. We made a ton of money off that 4-day trip. But some days, I just want to slow down some days, and I can't because I have to keep going. And if I had somebody else to help, in another city or another town, or even in the same town, you go this way, I go that way, that kind of thing, it would help a lot. Yeah. I understand where that would be the next step.
There are a couple good comments. Liquidation Pro says, it was not that one. It was the high level thinking takes time to implement new policies and procedures to grow and evolve your business. The only way you get the time is if you're not the one doing that manual labor. And then TiVo the Flipper makes a good point. Even when you don't have a list, sometimes it's an app. Like book sales, if you pay somebody to go scan books at a book sale, if Scout IQ dings, you buy it. If it doesn't, you don't.
Yep.
And buy this many books, and the first question is back to Craig. Someone will say, "Oh, but what about if they figure out what they're doing?" Do you really think there's going to be the next person is going to want to deal with all the books? Their job is just to bring the books back to you. That's
what I was going to say. I was going to say a minute ago, when talking about is somebody going to, go start on their own. Sometimes people think that reselling, how they see it looks like, oh, that looks fun. That's something I want to do. And then when they really learn the business, they see how hard it is. And they really don't want to do it.
I think Pete did a video, and he said, this many people have asked me what I do, and those people aren't even around anymore because they just found that they didn't like doing it, and it's not for everybody, but everybody likes to go to, not everybody, but a lot of people like to go to yard sales. A lot of people like to shop. My mom loves to shop,
And then you hear those people who have all those death piles because they didn't do the rest of it.
Right. You have to have somebody, if you don't like doing that, like I hate peeling stickers, but my wife likes it. So she peels all the stickers, and she does the number side of things because I would screw that up royally. So you have to have somebody, especially like I'm lucky because I have a wife that likes to do that sort of thing, and I don't. But if I didn't have that, then I'd have to have somebody do that stuff because I would have death piles all over the place, or I'd be broke, one or the other,
I want to jump back. Somebody, and I'm sorry I can't give you credit because I can't find the comment. They said those people that take a real interest in what you're doing can be your biggest asset in the future as well.
Right.
Because they're going to get in there and they want to learn. They want to know what they're doing. They want to know their job. That can be one of your biggest assets. Listen, if you're going to be cheap and pay somebody $10 an hour, and as they learn more, you give them $1 here and $1 there, they're not going to be interested. If you pay somebody a fair, and we talked about this yesterday, if you pay somebody a fair wage, they ain't going nowhere.
But Tracy, you think of me as a great point. Even if they do want to start their own, you give them your best wishes and move forward. I can tell you, I started a lot of this stuff, and I enjoy that part of teaching and talking about reselling on YouTube, is because there's nothing more gratifying than seeing somebody tell you, because of what you've helped me learn and inspired me, I'm able to support my family. I'm able to do this. I'm able to live my dreams. I'm telling you, everybody thinks of the negative. You've trained one person, you found one person, you've got systems in place, you can bring another person in. But the emotional reward of helping someone else see it is truly amazing. And don't look at it from a selfish way of, oh my God, they're going to do what I do. I've created my competition. You've given someone else an opportunity to live their dreams. And there is mommy income, Kristen or Amy, whoever that is. There's room for everyone at the table. You can't buy it all. You can't do it all. I promise you we're not running. There was some comment on that was going around. I think Wade posted on Instagram. This person is saying, everybody on Instagram and everybody on this has just ruined reselling. I'm at my Goodwill and their prices are high, this and that. There's lots of problems with that kind of person thinking.
I have a theory about Goodwill. Goodwill isn't pricing it high because they don't want us to resell it. They're pricing it high to make more money. That's it. They have to.
Their market is demanding that they can demand a higher price in their market. So they're demanding a higher price. It's not because we resell.
Gosh, no.
It's because they're listen, Goodwill's a for-profit corporation. I would think they were idiots if they didn't price it higher.
You just got to realize the economy is so good right now that, they're able to take advantage of the fact that wages are growing, people are working, and so their product should naturally rise some because of the ability that people have to afford things.
A little while back, Dixie had said, letting go is a hard part, and it can be. Like giving up, that's a hard part for me.
Here's the perfect example. I mean, how long has he fought hiring a teenager?
Yeah. It's hard for me because, like I'm sitting in the same room as the lady that's processing with me. And it's going to be really hard for me to let it go and not be here at all when they're processing. But eventually I need to do that. I have to say, yesterday when you were doing that video with the pallet, two things. It was so funny. When you started raising that door up and I saw legs, of somebody standing there, because you said that you got something for free and it was something about an Amazon processing. And when the door started going up, I thought it was like they sent you two teenagers. But the other thing was that horn. Oh my God. I had the YouTube on the seat next to me. I wasn't watching. I just was listening. And I just went to turn into traffic and that horn was like, shit.
Yeah, somebody left a comment that they had headphones on. He said, I had headphones on and I damn near pissed myself when that train horn went on.
Listen, yesterday Scott had this moment in time where he just went, aha, I understand what John's saying now about if I let go, I can do so much more. When he stepped back and seen that he was putting two people in the wrong roles within his business and made that switch to say, okay, I need Jacob to do eBay and his sister-in-law to do Amazon, he went, now I understand why I need people in here helping me because I'm able to step back and able to do more with my company.
No, and part of it too is when John tells you, and there's a difference between experiencing and seeing stuff live versus somebody telling you, because, we talk a lot on the internet, back through Messenger. When John tells you he works 10 minutes, yesterday he worked 10 minutes. I mean, it's very eye-opening to see, he's done with the computer. He's done with the VA. The VA's like, John, I got this today. I don't need you today. I'm going to do this, and this. And then John turns around and go, all right, I'm done for today. What are we going to do for the rest of the day? And he took a couple phone calls. He talked to his account. I mean, he did it. It's not truly he wasn't truly completely done, but it was a couple things that somebody wanted to keep him in the loop with. But it was no more than 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
And that was it. I mean, to see it in person is much more different. And there's a lot of
10 minutes. You're saying he is a slacker?
I'm telling you, 10 minutes, he's a freaking genius. That's what I'm telling you.
I got to tell you, and I wouldn't be where I'm at had you not come up here for that trip. Just seeing what you do and just seeing it. And it wasn't that I couldn't do it before that. It's just that I didn't know what to do. I'd go into a store and be confused, that kind of thing. So seeing somebody else do something that you want to do is a game changer sometimes. And it was for us, just going to a store with Scott That's it. That's all it took.
And I could tell you, Steve, the same way I would tell you that afternoon we spent together, I had a great time. I enjoyed the social aspect of being able to spend time with you and Marsha. We had a wonderful lunch and great time in the stores. John, and I don't know what I did to teach you that much other than I'm just carrying on being me. John would tell you the exact same thing. He's carrying on today being him.
We had a great time. I got up this morning. I got up my normal time. I was up at 4:30. I worked for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes today. I did my journal and I'm done. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do today? And we just kind of banter back and forth, but he picks up a lot of information. Sometimes he stops me and says, hey, well, let's talk about that a little bit, so that he can pick up a little bit. And I'm sure it's the same way with you, Steve. And I've had people in my life along the way, and I wrote about it this morning. Who are the 5 people, you always need somebody just above you. And I'm learning a lot from Scott. I mean, we walked into Best Buy and I said, okay, you tell me what I need for this YouTube thing. And he said, you need that. I said, okay, give me one of those. And, we went around the store and I spent $3,600 because he's further ahead of me with YouTube and the understanding of it. So I'm getting just as much from you as you are from me. It's different, but it's the same. And it's not that,
yeah, understand that you don't have to be, it's because he is in reselling. He does a lot of stuff I want to do, and I'm learning that way. The roles are not always the same. The roles can be different, and surround yourself. John asked me an important question yesterday, and I knew the answer, and I didn't want to tell him the answer because I truly believe this. In your circle of friends, in your circle, you truly need to surround yourself with people that are above your level as well as at your level, and maybe 1 or 2 below. You need a good mix because you need the thinking of the newer people because they will reinforce and you can help. And there's then people that are at your level, who see at your level and can. And he said, so in your group, who's bigger than you? Who? And I'm like, I knew he was going to ask this. I'm like, I am for the most part, and I am the biggest. And I think we were talking more about YouTube at that point than we were about reselling, because you definitely fulfill a lot of that in the reselling,
right?
But you build that circle around you because
who do you go to when you have and I have this problem right now with reselling, so I asked you that question more rhetorical because I'm asking myself the same question. I have problems with my business. Who do I turn to ask, hey, how did you get through this part of it? Now you're in YouTube and you surround yourself with these people that got you, and all of a sudden you have this explosive video. And you look at all your circle, and you go, but how do I leave the people behind? It helped me. It's not that you're leaving them behind. It's that you need to move your circle a little bit. You still talk to those people. You still interact with them. But your circle is always adjusting.
Because you need interaction with someone larger because all of a sudden you have problems that no one around you can answer and then all of a sudden it's a good problem to have is that strategic thinking, even for a YouTube side of the business where you go, I don't have anybody to talk to plan or help plan or move or grow larger because now I'm the biggest one I know. And so it's definitely.
So you got to, and then you find yourself looking at somebody bigger than you and guessing. And I'm not going to mention any names, but he's mentioned a particular show that's grown, and it's like, but he doesn't know them. He doesn't interact with them. He doesn't really, he's guessing how they got to that point. Instead of being able to ask for advice, here's what I got, because they probably somewhere along the line had a viral hit like you had a big shot in growth. Okay, now what do I do with this growth? He's got to guess. If he had somebody just a little bit bigger, he could ask for help. I'm at that point with the Amazon thing. Here's where I'm at. How do I make it so that it doesn't implode on itself? How do I not waste it? And it looks so funny looking down and only seeing 3 things in the corner of the thing because I'm not
Yes, the
in
fourth
my
one.
own. I'm not in my 4th one.
Because it truly is much harder if you're trying to look and make assumptions that of why. Because there are a lot of great YouTubers out there. The channel where I'll tell you the channel we've been looking at. We've been looking at Steve and Steph, the Resale Killers.
Yeah.
If you don't follow them, they are a great personality. They have wonderful chemistry together. When they first, I don't follow them as much as I did because it's hard to follow. But they have wonderful chemistry together. Nice people. Interaction with their audience is wonderful. But you sit back and look and go, I can only guess what truly built that 150,000 subs.
No.
It's freaking amazing.
How many they have now? Holy Lord.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing. I mean, I know there's a lot. You can look at a lot of it. Nice people win. I can tell you that right now. A husband and wife team that get along and have fun together. People can see that and they truly like that. There's lots of stuff you can see, but when you don't have someone to ask, or you need someone in a bigger channel to go.
I think a lot of what Steve and Steph has is, first of all, they come across as, if you were to hang out with those 2 in person, they'd be the same people they are on YouTube. Number one,
I have no doubt.
Like you said, the chemistry is really good. They're not afraid to try new things and show you what they're doing.
They've done thrifting.
Yeah.
I told John they went to I think one of their kids had a baby. They went live in the car like the whole way there. I mean,
It was because of their relationship for me.
Yeah, and that's for a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with Steve and Steph that
Hang out with me. No, seriously.
Yeah.
If you want 150,000 on your channel, hang out with me. Look at the response that you and I got, and I'm not saying it's the perfect match, but look at the response you and I got. We went into Walmart. We were both exhausted in reality. We were overtired when we went to Walmart. We pulled out our big personalities and we just played. We didn't do anything in Walmart, and look at the viewership we had. If we did that on a regular basis like this Steve and Steph do, what do you think our viewership would be? I mean, it would explode because people would want to see that interaction between you and me.
But there's a lot of factors to it. But that just happened to be one because their growth has been so explosive.
Yeah,
it's been amazing to watch. And it's not jealous. I'm genuinely thrilled that they have such success. When good people succeed, it's easy to cheer for them.
See, the Walmart live video was awesome. We did nothing, guys. We were
Right.
Scott and John in Walmart playing
and
around.
that's why it was so awesome. That's why it was awesome, because you guys were just who you
I
are.
thank God them scooters weren't unlocked because I would have been on my butt. I would have been. That would have been on TV. America's Funniest Videos. Somebody would have been clipping that and sending it in.
The realness goes a long way.
And the time
and
and
that's-
consistency. I'll tell you one thing too. They are relentless about putting out content. They put out content over and over, and whether it was they started in thrift stores, they were, but you can see they're the same people. They're having a great time in thrift store. They're having a great time in dumpsters. They're having a great time doing all their yard sale. So you see the consistency too, but they are relentless in putting out content. It's truly.
They have that whole.
It's been fun to watch them evolve because they like to try different things.
They have that whole enjoy your life outlook, and I think that goes a long way for them too. It's they make mistakes, we all do, but it's how you react to that stuff, and they show you how. This is let it go.
Lauren is. I think Lauren's got an important point. He said, "I like that they do put out so much raw content." And John, how many times you said that in the last couple of days? Raw content, people. Whether it's reality shows, whether it's whatever, right now, that is something that is very popular.
If you send me a text and say, hey, you want to do these, I understand the viral video aspect, but I have found, and I built my YouTube channel in a very short period of time, and I did it with raw content. And when I made mistakes, I said, I got to go back and redo that, like the eBay +1 video. I got so much after the show was done. I had so much people saying, don't change it.
No.
We like that you made all those mistakes through it because it showed us that we could do it as well. You make a mistake, you stumble, you pick yourself up and do it. But if you picked up your phone and say, hey, John, what are you doing? I'm at Walmart scanning. I'm going to send you a link. We're going live. And we popped on like this. It's the same thing. People would gravitate to that. What's going on in their lives? What are they doing? What are they up to? Who's doing what? I don't know why people are so fascinated, but we've done it all our lives. You drive down the road and there's an accident. You want to see what's going on.
I've been trying to figure out why do people like watching us go to yard sales? But those are some of my most popular videos. I'm sure some of yours.
Yep.
It's because, and somebody said in the chat, you don't know what we're going to find. You don't know what's going to happen.
Mr.
And especially if you did that live.
Dress. Mr. Sadie, you have not seen me in a dress with makeup on, so you don't know that she's prettier than I am.
No, and Mr. Sadie, I agree with you. Steve swung for the fences. You know, Steph is a very attractive lady, just the same as my wife. You know, Joni, my wife is a very attractive.
I think it's the husband and wife too, the interaction.
And for good news for y'all is, you know, as John's been here, I've been helping me convince Joni that she needs to be more on my channel with me and do some stuff, because you guys, Joni, my wife's very wonderful and she's a people person, and I don't know why, you know.
Joni is amazing, guys.
So you'll see a lot more of her as she be. But there's something to that as well. No, Justin Porter's right. People are searching for hope. I think there is some of that too, because when you watch Steve and Steph and they talk about enjoy your life, you truly see that good people, nice people are out there. They're doing this. They're doing what they want to do. They're successful, and people like to see that. They like, you know, and they're raw. So you know. They're very transparent. I mean, there's lots of wonderful qualities. So
I'm going to go back to a channel that I really enjoy watching, and I wish they would do more videos. Is Jim and Tara. Those two just interact so good together. Jim and Tara are both funny.
Oh, you should see Scott and Joni.
Right, and I have in person, and
okay,
I know.
But you know, you and I have gotten now. I'm here now, living it. You know. Joni is such a loving, caring, sweet person. Her and my wife get along. They're in there chit-chatting away. We came home yesterday. They're all cuddled up, and one sitting in one chair. My wife's got the dog under, and they're cuddled up in blankets, chit-chatting, watching TV. They had their nails done. And Joni, what a host. I mean, with all that she's got going on in her life, we were like, we'll go out to dinner every night. Thank God she didn't cook yesterday. But, man, could she make a cheese? Not as good as my wife's. I'm saying that right now because I'm not getting in trouble with my wife, who is watching this with Joni. Joni made a wonderful cheesecake for us at dinner last night. But it's been this. If you guys could see that on camera, and the love that they have for each other after, 28 years now? You're coming up on 28 years. Yeah. You know, it's an amazing thing.
You don't even have to be the best at what you do on YouTube. You just have to be real. Number one, I think that's where a lot of channels fail, is they try to overproduce and there's too much not real in it. And like, that's why I enjoy watching people like Steve and Steph and Jim and Tara and Scott and Shane and John, because they're real. They're just telling you what they're doing. That's it. You know, and
the other thing is we don't edit out mistakes.
No.
I don't edit out mistakes. I learn more from a mistake than I do a success, guys.
It goes back to, you know, me hanging out for one day with Scott. He says, I don't feel like I did anything. You know, the thing is, you take that for granted, what you're doing, you know. And I'll walk into a store with Scott, and he just knows where to go, what to do, all that stuff. Yeah, I didn't know any of it. So he thinks he's not teaching me anything, but he really is, you know?
Yeah, I think people, I think when content creators get too picky with their videos, you cut out parts that are important. You cut out parts, because I got a lot of comments on the Walmart video, people saying, We love to see your process. How many times have I've told people we just start scanning the clearance aisle, but I guess seeing somebody do it
To
was
see
different.
us actually, I mean, they were watching us live how we do it, and that's
And we just started at one end and started going down to the other. I
yeah.
mean,
Now listen, we skipped a lot because there's a lot in there that we've already scanned. We've seen 100 times, and we know it's not worth scanning. But if we were walking into a fresh store and we were scanning, we would have done it just the way we did it in that clearance aisle. We would have started on the top left and worked our way to the bottom right. We would have gone all the way through everything would have been scanned.
I did that in a Tuesday morning last week because I hadn't been in a Tuesday morning in a long time. I don't go in there often, but when I do, and I'm already making sales both on eBay and Amazon from that stuff. You have to learn how to process one store, and then you take that process and go to another store and do the same thing. I mean, it's no different than any store. You might have to learn the little quirks like, okay, what's the clearance tag look like in this store, that kind of thing. But once you learn how to scan a store, sky's the limit with that stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I've talked about more than one time is when you know a store really well, like if I'm in another town and I just happen to pass by a Tuesday morning, I can run in and, make a few $100s in 10 minutes because I know exactly what to grab. Or I go regularly so I know when something's different or new, and I only have to scan the new stuff. I mean, occasionally you do want to check. They're so funny. There was one toy that I was sure was going to be good money, and I scanned it and it wasn't. And I swear, every once in a while, I scanned that same toy for a whole year at Tuesday morning, and it never was good. But I just knew someday it was going to be good, and it wasn't.
But you can take that same process and use it in a different store. It's the same.
For sure.
Yeah.
But like what we were talking about before, learning one store, learning when their sales are, learning how to read the tag, all that kind of stuff, so that you can just run in and do it quick.
My main store, they tell you right on the tag the markdown amount, how much they marked it down. They tell you when the sale's going to end, So you've got a wealth of information just by knowing how to read that tag.
And some stores are different than others. Like if you know Costco, if there's a star on a tag, that means that item is marked for. It might not be discontinued for the country, but it means Costco's not carrying it anymore.
That store.
If you know Sam's, is it Sam's? It's an 88 cents or an 89 cents. Means that's the final markdown of an. I forget which. It's either 88. Somebody can Google it, but their receipts do absolutely tell you. Took me 6 months.
My deepest condolences, Brandy.
Yeah, that's terrible.
She said it took her 6 months to watch all of the Picker's videos. My deepest condolences for having to wade through all of that.
Especially the early ones when I didn't know. I don't know that I know what I'm doing now, but I really didn't. I was still struggling with.
Somebody made a comment
introvert,
earlier.
Being an introvert and having a camera, I was still struggling.
Lisa Rock brought up a really good point. Do you want a teacher that just teaches, or the teacher who is interactive and teaches? Most will want someone who gives you real interaction sides, bloopers and all. And I don't know. That's what I like to bring. I like to bring all my mistakes. I really do. I want you to see that. I want you to have hope that I started just like all of you guys did. I call myself the homeless millionaire because at one point in my life I slept on the beach in front of Showboat Hotel Casino in Atlantic City under the boardwalk. So I came from whatever problems you have. I've overcome my own problems. So I want you to have hope. But I want you to see that I didn't get lucky in this. There was no luck involved in this.
Well, there was, but it was labor
under correct knowledge. But I didn't get lucky. I didn't buy a winning lottery ticket. I make the same mistakes today that I made a year. Well, I make less of them, but I learned from my mistakes, and I'm still making them. I make them every freaking day. I really do, and I want you guys to see that with those mistakes, you still can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and laugh at yourself a little bit about it, which we do, and move forwards. Somebody put a link in for Steve and Steph?
No, somebody was asking who they were talking about. They missed the channel.
Oh, okay.
Well, the one thing, if John's got an amazing story, and if Shane's channel, Rise and Grind Picker, yesterday Shane and John talked about drop shipping the right way versus the wrong way, and at the very end, John told a lot about the story. So if you want to hear more details about John's life story, where he came from, find that video. Yes, Shane's latest video talks about drop shipping. The last third
Well,
of
you
it.
and I are going to make one today.
Oh,
I want to do a video about an overlook of my story, not real detail, but an overlook of my story, and I want you to help me edit it
Okay, so
for my channel for when you come in and you know there's a little blurb about you. I want to do that.
okay. So look forward to that coming to John's channel. Then we'll get
But
that.
you can pitch Shane's. Listen, I did a drop ship about how to do drop ship, and there's a lot of great information in there if you listen to it. And I like Shane. Shane was a good guy. So I can't see the chat, Mike. I don't have my glasses on, dude.
Yeah, they're just
They're
talking
just
about
banning.
they're talking about channels in general. There.
Yeah, but you have to, but the big takeaway for this for you has to be you have to narrow that lane of yours you're in. You got Amazon, eBay, YouTube. You got all these things coming on you, and you got to find this.
The learning for me is all of them are fine. All of them are, Sue does them all. Everybody here does them all, but you can do them all, but you can't do it all.
Right. There you go. That's great.
That's do it all, but can't do it all is the point that you've got to reach. And you have to decide, that's why the title of the show, you have to really do some evaluation in your business to truly understand what costs you money and versus what makes you money. And it's, because some things are more fun than others. It's more fun. Is it more fun just to process products? I bet everybody in the chat will go, they don't want to take off stickers. They don't want to fill up boxes. Okay. That's an easy one, but I like making the YouTube videos like the ones we're clowning around. I like getting out and meeting people. I like going to yard sales, but I don't like the listing. So, once Jacob is not going to be listing after summer, I can't do like I did last year. That's a huge mistake of saying I'll do it and go. Instead of learning that, oh my God, look what happened to my eBay with somebody helping me list. Oh, that must have been an accident. I can do it. I should have had a plan in place. There should have already been a lister. There should have already been.
You should have already had somebody here that Jacob was showing.
Yeah,
that's it exactly.
You
And
should.
You're talking about
Show anybody ever again how to do eBay.
so evaluating doing it all is fine, but there's got to be somebody at the top who figures out, how it all works together. The managing function of it that says, if I have someone who does the prep and the listing, I can still do the yard sales because they're going to take care of the stuff I hate. The stuff I'm not going to have a pile because it's going to be gone. I can still do the YouTube. I don't know that I'm ready to let go of the editing yet. I think the answer is more mixing more live in with less. But I don't get to that unless I start thinking about it. What you've made me think about, I don't have time to stop and think about how to grow the YouTube channel and the fun aspect of the YouTube channel and the parts I like and dislike because I'm too busy packing boxes to stop and think about. So you've got to take some of these lower level functions off of yourself.
Sometimes you just got to get out of your own way sometimes. And that's
100%.
I think that's where I'm at. I'm in my own way more than I'm out of it.
The other thing is, all I've heard about for 2 days is all of this behind me. And I got 21 large boxes over here in this storage unit. And I got this and I got whatever it is. It's all I've heard about is how much stuff he has. He's it's not, and it weighs on his mind when we're at Wendy's having lunch yesterday and we're laughing and giggling but it's weighing on his mind because he brought it up. I need to get it done. and when it's everything, it consumes your life. Now that he's able to step back and say, okay, this is what I'm going to start doing. And sometimes you have to live the mistake of letting Jacob go back to school and saying, okay, I'm going to do it. So that now that you have the opportunity of Jacob coming back to help you again this summer, saying, okay, I got to make sure when Jacob goes away, I got somebody in place to replace him, because I don't want what happened last year to happen again.
I'll tell you the reason I don't have death piles. I have a little bit right now because of all the sourcing. Because if I had what Scott has back there, I'd shut down, and I can't do that. That's why it goes. If I buy it, it better be something that's going to sell, because it's got to go away. Now, obviously, you have eBay inventory. That's different, but that's all listed. I have 4 things that aren't listed because that's all I got.
Well, we were in Walmart yesterday.
I was about to tell the story.
Okay, go ahead. You tell it because you lived it. Go ahead.
Okay, so my brother came up here yesterday, and because he's never met John, and he's heard me talk about John and John's theories and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I got to pay Texas for their parking ticket. Not parking ticket, but the easy pay. And he's like, do you care if I come up there? Maybe I can learn some things. Just spend some time with John. I'm like, man, come the hell on. We don't care. What's another body? And so, so John's talking to him about his procedures and how he looked. So Terry got the live version of your thing Friday night.
Right.
And we come around the corner and we're looking at some items, and I'm like, I hadn't seen that in a while. I know that's money because there's some items. I know I haven't used your process a lot, but I've used it enough on certain categories. I'm like, I know. And so I scan it and I take half and give my brother half like we always do. John looks at me and says, give me that, and gives them all to my brother. He goes, you don't need any more crap right now. He's like, you've got all that stuff back home. Let your brother will send that in. You won't get through months.
It is like when I was really like pulling everything down and trying to get rid of stuff, and my floor got really full as I was processing, and I'm like turning sideways, and I have a fairly decent room, and it just drags you down when it's just taking all that time to just move from one end to the other.
I got very few things in my office right now, and I'm looking at it like, oh my God, how am I going to get through that? And there's hardly anything in here. But if it keeps growing and growing, I will shut down. I mean, literally shut down, and I'll go take a nap on the couch, and then nothing gets done. So for me, my process has to be done. Like we go on a road trip, all that stuff has to get processed the next day or in a couple of days. Because if it doesn't, it'll just pile up, and I'll be in a position where I'll be spending money, but I won't be making any because none of it will ever get done.
Well, there have been times like the Legos that were behind me for a while.
Yeah, he's right.
The Legos that were behind me for a while, I had to wait for them to start making money again. So there was a purpose for that. But it's
Plus, my wife posted in the chat that she refuses to have death pile.
Make money, didn't you?
Pardon me?
When you bought them, you knew you were going to have to sit on them to make money.
Oh yeah.
There's certain times you have.
Well, I sent in some of it right away and made money right away. But as soon as I start to see it go down, I just wait a while. But Football Man made a good point a while back. He said if you're trying to do everything yourself, you're more likely to get burned out, which is true as well.
Sirena, yes. I mean, I'd literally shut down. I mean, I can't process it in my mind.
Wow.
You have to know your limits too. You don't want to. If you can't
like
do something
for you, Steve.
Yeah.
If I come in the house and there's a pile of stuff, I will just shut down.
Wow. I bet you there's a lot of people like that. You ought to talk about that more. Seriously.
But
there's a lot of people that look at the pile and just all of a sudden just turn in on themselves and shut down.
Yeah. I'll go in the other room and take a nap. And
you
really
should bring that up more.
Now, I think a lot of us do that, Steve, because we talked the Sunday show, the Fortune and Resale show. All of us talked about being burned out, and most of the panel agreed that they were at some level of burnout right now. And that's how a lot of this accumulates, John, I still keep functioning knowing that I'm buying stuff because I know it's a good deal. I can't point out I'm saving money going broke. There's some of that.
You're going broke saving money.
But it's the more I pile in here, the more you can't deal. I can't deal with it. So I'll work around it, or I've got the other
become
storage.
invisible to you.
It has become invisible.
You walk by it and don't even see, and I did it too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, I've had warehouses where there was, you talk about death piles, have 500 square feet of death pile.
I want to address Wyatt. Wyatt Earth has just grab one thing off the pile and get going. It's the problem. The problem with me is I can't do that. If there's a pile, where do I start? What do I do? And then my anxiety takes over and I'm done. So that's why things get processed really quickly here. And Wyatt always looks so nice behind me. Now, my wife comes in before the show and cleans off that table.
But let's dig in this a little bit, Steve, because you know yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I have to.
You know your limitations. So you have now developed a system that says, okay, it has to get done.
Yeah. And
has
Bobby says my chest gets tight. He can't do it either.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is when you have certain issues. But the thing is, you got to learn to overcome that stuff. We've made a pretty successful Amazon and eBay business out of me not being able to do stuff, because now we know where we're at and what we have to do to make this work. If I have a death pile here, it's not going to work. So
yeah, but somebody said something about how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
For me, I eat an elephant one bite at a time because I'm that type. I have that personality.
Right. I don't.
I know there's people. You're the type of person that would look at the elephant and go, "Holy shit!"
Oh my God!
And you would spend days, maybe weeks, trying to figure out how to even go about it.
Take the first bite, right? Yeah.
Wow,
But the great thing is, Steve, that you know how you are, and you're dealing with that by getting. I mean, there's nothing better than getting things listed and sent in right away,
Yeah, but I could see where if Steve talked about it more.
Oh yeah.
It would help because you hear about death piles all the time, and somebody like me goes, then just get in there and freaking do it. But he's saying if he discussed it, I bet you a lot of people would say, thanks, Steve. I actually did 5 listings today because of what you said.
Right.
Well, and like if we go to a yard sale and I could buy 10 items, if those 10 items aren't listed by the next yard sale, then I've got 20 items and then I got 30 items. And that's how my mind works. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't do 30 listings today because now I have 30 things to list. So those 10 items get listed before the next yard sale. They have to.
That's awesome.
There's times. Yeah, my wife says summer's a bad time because we get a lot of stuff quickly and it can become overwhelming for me. For her, it's not. She's more like you, John, where, oh, there's an elephant. Let's just start. For me, or she'll get up, be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning, and I got to take an hour. That kind of thing.
Yeah, if y'all go back and read Justin Porter's comments, he's talking about working within your unique abilities.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him about that before in person and on the phone. Dan Solova, that's someone. I think he's right. Your unique abilities. Justin can tell if I remember it wrong, but that's the ability you have, which makes you the most money, which you're the best at, and you're the most comfortable, and everything else you struggle with because you're doing it because you have to, because it's part of a process that you don't deal with, and that's what causes the burnout. Because if you're doing the part that you are explicitly good at and enjoy, and you've made everything else you've outsourced, the burnout doesn't come where. So I'm gonna get a copy of that book because I think makes more sense. I mean, the way I think it makes it. It really I need more of that kind of thinking to help me process the outsourcing and everything. To really, the more you think about it, the more that I will outsource the stuff that he said. Then it doesn't even feel like a job. And
But here's the other thing too. Like I'm in a big transition right now because I've been trying to figure these things out. And Karen, I wrote something down on my board up here because I saw her say this or on her Instagram or something. and it's really true. It says transition, a bad place to stay. So it's great to be thinking about all these things, but then you got to move on and get through it, because otherwise you're not going to move forward at all.
So what's your next step?
Definitely hiring. I mean, I am getting out of the processing business.
Are you going to ask her to work more hours, or she can't?
Well, we've talked about that before, and she's just got a lot going on in her life right now. She's got her father-in-law passed away. Her mother went into assisted living. They have 2 houses to sell. This is why she actually likes coming on Monday and doing mindless work, because it's like, because I had talked to her before about, when I mentioned in the green room one day, oh, I got somebody to do all my stickers and stuff. Somebody said, oh yeah, that's not going to last long. They're not going to like doing that. Actually, she likes it because it's just gets her kind of life off her mind for a whole day,
One of my favorite things to do is process.
Not me.
I like to go in, close the doors, turn on a little bit of music real low, turn everything off, and just process, because it's a mindless job that I don't have to think about, how am I paying this vendor? Where's this order? Why is the boat stuck in the middle of the ocean because of a storm? I don't have to worry about none of that crap. I just got to stick my stuff in a bag and close the bag. Stick stuff in a bag and close the bag. And it's time for me to just shut down from everything going on.
But I want somebody, what I'm going to looking for is somebody to come in a couple times a week to start. I mean, I'm not going to turn the whole process over at one time, but add a second person coming in a couple times a week. And then when things are a little bit slower, I also want them to do all the photography for eBay, because I'm getting out of I want somebody listing. I want somebody doing photographs, and I have figured out that process of how to do it easily. So I want someone who is coming here to do it, because that way, they can just follow my process along. So that's what I'm going to be working on next.
I know what Scott's working on.
Somebody said, how do you hire it out when the mistake of a newbie can shut down your account?
Well, and that's one of the reasons I wasn't doing it before, like why I was staying and working with Carla. One of the reasons is when she comes in on Monday, boy, do I get work done. And when she wasn't here, it took me 2 full days I had a really big shipment to get out, but I know I dilly-dallied my way through it. Because when she's over there working and I'm paying her to work, she comes to my house. We have an office in the basement. I'm upstairs. I'm not quite ready yet, or I'm doing whatever. I come down here. She's already working. No matter if I left her a list or not, she's straightening. She's doing whatever. So it makes me work more, because I'm like, well, I'm not going to be looking at Facebook because she's over there working and I'm paying her. But I have not wanted to leave the whole process. But this is what I'm going to do, a piece at a time. Yeah. Carla already knows what she's doing. I'll train the next person. And when I started to say before, I was hoping that Carla would move into, learning the inventory labs part and all that. But she doesn't want anything with a lot of responsibility. She likes that piece and she likes what she's doing. So I don't want to force her and move her into something that she doesn't want to do. Well, so I'm going to have a second person.
John has systems. So systems.
Yeah, right, exactly.
As long as they follow that system, there is no, there's a possibility that somebody's going to make a mistake.
But there's a possibility I could as well. I could leave a sticker myself.
Well, the one thing too is you're delegating the task, not the responsibility. And it's important. Just because you have somebody hired to do a function doesn't mean that, that adds a different step to you. That you now have a follow-up step that you need to add to your process, which is very simple. Look over the box to make sure that it's done right, and then the follow-up becomes less and less as you become more confident in your person's abilities. Of course, you got a brand new person. You're not going to say, "Here's how you do it."
Right.
Never check behind them. It's
You don't throw somebody in the
Yeah.
deep end.
So,
But I think by having the two people, so Carla's been working with me for a whole year, and then the new person's going to come along, and they're going to start out by doing peel on the stickers and prepping and stuff, and then the two people can kind of check on each other. But I wanted to, Joan made a comment about be careful about having somebody come to your house and use your equipment. They could be considered an employee. I pay the taxes on, I mean, she's on my payroll, and so will the new person be.
She is an employee. So, and listen, if you don't pay payroll, you're freaking wrong. It's
Yeah,
that simple.
we're not telling you to do anything that's
If you're looking to cheat the freaking systems, you might as well leave, because this isn't the place that you're going to get that kind of information. I'm sorry. I know this is Scott's channel, but I know Scott well enough to know that he'll back me up on that statement.
Yeah, you got to realize 3 out of the 4 of us are all corporations, and so
And I'm an LLC, so
Oh,
it's a matter of doing things the right way. I want to do it the right way. I want to pay when I have, because that's one of the other reasons why Jacob's delayed a couple days, because I got an email to send out today about to Jared about how do we pay Jacob. I mean, how do we do taxes? Because we hadn't discussed that yet. And when I first talked to him, it was like, I don't think I need any employees. Instead of I probably need 3. and so as things change, you do it the right way, plan, pay. How do you sleep at night? I'm going to tell you this. If you do things the right way from the beginning, and follow the rules, you have so much more peace of mind, and doing it the right way and doing it the right way, instead of always, it takes more effort for me to try to figure out how to do it wrong than it does just to say, these are the rules, this is what we're going to do. But
you know what, though? And even if you started out the wrong way, you can always, it's never too late to fix it either.
There's a lot of wrong ways I've done things, and I continue to do things the wrong way, but you learn. And
would you consider outsourcing? And this is a great question for you 3. I can't. Would you consider outsourcing to a third party instead of training new employees?
I actually have looked into a prep center because we have one here in town, and I just decided to go the other direction. That particular processor is very expensive, and they charge for a piece of bubble wrap, they charge for a box, they just, so I just decided, I mean, at some point, like my son, that's what my son does. He brings everything to a prep center, even his RA. He used to just send his OA to the prep center, but he moved to Dallas, and now he brings everything to the prep center.
So does he have a local prep center that he can physically drop it off to?
It's 50 miles away, but he bought that huge, gigantic, tall van, and he fills that whole thing up and brings it over.
And you listen, there's nothing wrong with, I know somebody right now who is in the Canary Islands, which is somewhere near Spain, who has a VA buying for her OA, which is shipped to a processing center in the United States and then is sent into Amazon. You can outsource everything. Trumpster Bob, I did not take a jet. I am looking at a helicopter right over here. I've always said I wanted a helicopter.
Yeah, but those are all your helicopters. Those are the military helicopters. I don't think they're for sale.
And Trumpster Bob said, holy cow, the millionaire John is with you. That's awesome. That's why we build these businesses, so that we can, at the last minute, say, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to stop down at your place. And I left New Jersey and came to Alabama on my way to Florida. And it makes it nice.
Yeah, and we'll meet up again in Vegas.
We're going to meet in Vegas. Listen, they're already in there planning what we're doing for Vegas. But,
well, Bobby's right as well, that you have to be careful of all the costs, and you don't want to eat up all your profits. I mean, that's something that you have to sit down and figure out.
Yeah. You have to know your number. I don't know my numbers, but you do.
I mean, I wouldn't have hired I wouldn't have hired a second person a year ago,
I'm not at the point where I can right now, but eventually I probably will. I mean, her son came in here the other day. What can I do to help? You know, I'm like, I don't know, but I need to get off that. It's stinking thinking. I mean, I've heard that saying before, and my mind just goes straight to well, if I get somebody else to do this, they're not going to do it right. And so I understand that question earlier about, well, what if they do something wrong? Well, that's where my mind goes.
Well, then you got to teach them to do it the right way.
Right.
You don't bring somebody in and say, okay, here's my death pile. I want it gone tomorrow. Yeah. They're not going to know where to start. It's like eating an elephant. They're not going to know where to take the first bite. You need to train the person that you bring in.
Right.
I've had 20 or 30 VAs. They never work out. You know why? I didn't train them right.
Right.
It wasn't their fault. It was my fault. This last one I used this Google Hangout thing, and I have Skype on my phone. If he has a problem, I get this little light that comes up that he's trying to get in touch with me. And we jump into a Hangout, and he opens his screen up and says, Mr. John, this is the problem. I don't know why he calls me Mr. John, but he calls me Mr. John, I got a problem. Here it is. How do I? And I'm able to show. And guess what? This guy has become so valuable in my company. I hope we don't watch this show. He's become very valuable in my company. I depend on him to take care of a lot of things so that I can work 10 minutes a day. Before I had him, I was working a lot.
He's watching the show. He's going to ask for a raise.
He handles my customer service. He handles my drop ship. He handles emails for me. He does so much to free me up.
But on the other hand, he's so valuable. If you ended up losing him, now you know how to train somebody, and you know how to do it the right way from the beginning.
I could walk away tomorrow, and I could bring somebody in. And I also made him write down what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my steps to do it. But if you change one of these steps, AJ, you need to write it out that you changed that step, and this is what you're doing, because programs change. Everything's constantly changing. Like I'm doing a class tomorrow night, the webinar thing tomorrow night, right?
Mm-hmm.
I showed Scott a brief preview. I wasn't really getting into it, but I just wanted to, and he's like, I'm on his system. I'm like, wow, man, I don't have that on mine. He says, it's free. It's free. It's free. I've had my head down working so much that all this technology that's come out to help you with sourcing and all the little programs that you have to make it easier, it's going to make my life so much simpler. And it's going to help the people I'm teaching tomorrow night to have a few extra programs that are free. They don't even cost. And it's like, I didn't know about any of that.
Yeah. One of the things I used to think the way up here, Bob was talking about, or Bobby, formerly John Wilford, was talking about how much money you need to justify, how much, if you have an employee and if they cost this much, you need to make. That's kind of old school thinking, in my opinion, because you need to understand what the employee costs and your profit and loss. But like John's been talking, once you have somebody doing this, you can take less money in this part of the business because you're focused more on this part where you're going to make more money overall. If you've got more than one, for me it's eBay, Amazon, YouTube. So there's three functions of revenue right now, and I know a lot of people have there will be different ones, but because eBay might not make as much because now I'm physically paying Jake a wage, that frees me up to do something else where I can generate more money in this part of the business because I'm not focused on the other. So don't get so hung up in the fact that, oh my God, it's costing me this much in this part of the business. As long as you're taking advantage of your unique ability, like Justin's been talking. I'm going to get that book today. You'd be amazed the amount of more money, the overall revenue is what you got to be concerned.
But you also get to now understand, guys. I'm a little bit bigger than a lot of people, but I'm also a lot smaller than other people. You get to a point where it's not about money all the time. freedom costs. We live in a country where freedom costs. There is a soldier willing to fight in a combat situation and sacrifice his life so that you have the freedoms that you have in this country. As a business owner, sometimes you sacrifice some of your profit for freedom. I worked 10 minutes yesterday, guys. And it's not that I'm bragging. I worked 10 minutes yesterday. I could have made a lot more money from my personal checking account by doing a lot more work and firing one of my employees and doing the work that he does. My bottom line would have been bigger. But to me, my freedom is worth more. My freedom of time to do other things is worth more.
Earlier, Balta said I think it's a she, wanted to be that third-party person, like to the prep center. We're not all cut out to be resellers. If you have that talent, there's so many things that you can do to be a helper, like Craig doing the Chrome plugin. There's lots of things that can be helpful tools to a reseller. So there's all kinds of things attached to the reselling world.
Yeah, there's find your unique ability, like we've been talking about.
She bragging about slacking.
It's you might do resell and find it. You like the concept, you think it's a great idea, but you're not cut out to be the reseller. What Chris Green saw and said something the other day. They asked him, if you had to do it all over again, what would you sell? The first thing out of the godfather of FBA's mouth was information. He
said services, and then
information. Where he found that he made the most money and was the most successful and took advantage of his unique ability was in selling services, selling and information. He did a book that did very well. ScanPower is a company he was part of that still does very well. So just because you're not cut out to be a reseller doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of your unique ability in a reselling environment. And there's nothing wrong with being the person that develops an app that makes something easier for everybody else. Because the one thing I would tell you, Zig Ziglar, if you help people get what they want, you will have more than you'll ever want and need. I mean, I 100% believe that. That's one of the reasons I didn't start YouTube to have a viral video, but it's amazing. It's amazing that when you try to help people, even if you get it wrong sometimes, and your opinion may not agree with everyone else's, but when you're trying to help people and trying to lift people up as you lift yourself up, it's amazing how many things come your way and just by helping others. So
I'll tell you, the people who wrote the Scout IQ app have made me money.
Mm-hmm.
I give them $15 a month, and it gives me the ability to make a shipment into Amazon at least once a week if I have nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
So just because I don't even know if they're resellers, they may be, but
they're booksellers. Caleb Ross is still a bookseller.
Because he wrote that app or made that app, now I have the ability to do the same thing they're doing, and it gives me an extra. Book selling isn't my biggest thing, but I do it because now if I have nothing to source that week, I can go find some books.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll pay them $15 or $20 a month to do that. So they're good at writing that program, and I'm good at using it. That kind of thing.
But they're a good example because Caleb is the bookseller. His brother works for, I think, a university or something. He's a mathematician, really one of them higher, smarter guys. And what's his contribution to your reselling business? He developed the formulas that go into Scout IQ that you're willing to pay for. So, he has helped the reseller community and not sold a thing that I'm aware of.
And I'll tell you what, he makes me at least an extra $200-300 a month just because he wrote that program. At least, and sometimes a lot more.
And Justin Porter said it really well. If you can make $100 an hour sourcing and can pay $20 an hour for someone to help you pack, then every hour you pack, you lose $80 an hour because you could be sourcing. That's very well put.
Yeah, but if you can source for $20 an hour and pay somebody $15 an hour, it's still a profit of $5 every hour.
Yeah. So I used to do fulfillment for this artist. She sold stickers, and I think I've told the story before. Unbelievable. She has a big following on Instagram, and she would just post, okay, I have a new limited edition sticker. She'd say, I have 100 available. And in 1 hour, they'd all be sold. Well, she was really bad at the fulfillment part. And so I started doing fulfillment for her, and I got $2 for every sticker that I shipped out or every package. Well, then I decided one day, okay, then I had started to resell more and was busier. And so I hired a teenager to do it for $1. And she could make 12, 15, even $20 an hour because, it was just spitting out the Dymo labels and sticking stuff in an envelope. But I made $1 a package for doing nothing because I hired her and she did it for $1 an hour, or $1 a package. And I made $1 on that for doing nothing.
Yeah, the one thing, Justin's statement is 100% true, but the one thing that he could have made another sentence because he made it earlier. You can't quantify your happiness and your productivity level when you're doing the part that you like the most. And that statement, I'm assuming that sourcing it's most everybody's fun part. It's most everybody's. It's the thing that gets you into this thing is the treasure hunt and the endorphin rush that comes with it. When you add more of that and less of the stuff that causes the headache, you can't imagine I would tell you the $100 sourcing, would become even higher and greater because the more you do it, the thing that you love the best, the better you will get. And
yeah, but then you're not out on the road as much either, so you get to spend a little more time with your family, which gives you a little. Yeah,
that whole statement. You start right there, and then if you break down what that gives you in time and ability, it's.
Steve, is your wife working? Did she go back to work, or did she?
She probably will go back to work next week. Unfortunately, she enjoys her job. She enjoys what we do here too. So she's kind of torn. She doesn't know. Do I continue to work for another couple of years? And the main reason is because she has the best insurance ever.
Well, see, and that, guys, listen,
that's a tough thing to get away from.
My wife was a former teacher, so insurance was never an issue for me. When you depend on somebody for insurance is a very big, costly thing. Sometimes you have to sacrifice and work like your wife does, Steve.
And she pays.
She's not really sacrificing because she does enjoy it.
She likes her job.
Yeah, well, for her it's not, but there are people that have to sacrifice.
Right.
But here's the thing: she also loves what we do. She loves the traveling. She loves the RA. So
maybe she could look into it. Maybe there's no possibility of this, but maybe she could work a little less hours, enough to get the insurance and be able to do it.
Place does part-time. But she would definitely do that. Here's the thing. She pays $103 a month, and that covers me, her, my son, and her son. Both her sons until they're 26. And our deductible is $400 a year. That's it. And then everything else is covered after that.
On the street.
What's that?
How much more would you have to sell to have that coverage?
Right. And that's where we're not quite there yet. But when we get there, then she'll definitely. You're welcome, Jordan.
David, just so you know, it is not me that loses the money at the casino. If it was my choice, I would not go. My wife is the buffalo feeder. She likes to.
I am not a casino. You don't want to. You can't get me in a casino because I'll spend every penny I have thinking I'm going to make more money. So you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Don't get it wrong. I've watched John play cards. He's actually pretty good at cards. So he's not the one that loses the money.
I can't go to a casino because I know my limits, and I know that if I go there, I'll just think that next pull or that next card turn is going to be the winner.
We got the real boss of Steve's company in the room.
Yeah, and she's been in the chat all day, and she'll tell you, she loves her job, but physically,
Basically, yeah.
Physically, it's tough for her. So,
But I love RA too. So
yeah.
my wife, listen, my wife's job was tough too, and as a teacher, and we had to get to a point where we knew that she had to finish out because we get the benefits afterwards. So we don't have to, part of her retirement package is our insurance.
For those of you
to do the RA.
For those of you who don't know what my wife does, she's a nurse's aide. So she gets paid decent money for it. But I mean, we're in our 40s, approaching 50 now. And it gets, lifting patients all day long and things of that nature. It gets bad. I was into home building and things like that, construction, and it killed me, So I understand that.
Yeah. Come to 50 with us. Come to 50.
Yeah.
No, I'm resisting.
And we can be the old timers reseller chat.
When I was 15,
Yeah,
I
be
thought
careful.
I'd never make 30. So
Careful, because I'm 59 now. I just turned 59. So
Okay, so
I'm headed for the 60.
So you can be the granny of the group. We'll go to you for the knowledge. You know how you grandparents.
Hey, speaking of that, big announcement. I haven't talked about it much at all on the internet or whatever, but I am going to be a grandmother in August.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
So my son and daughter-in-law are coming late this afternoon, and we're going to have a baby shower this weekend. So as soon as the show's over, I have to turn off work for a couple days, and
so they're coming from Dallas.
Yeah.
I got you beat. I'm a grandfather 3 times over already.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm excited. And it's a girl. I have 3 sons, and it's a granddaughter. So
I get
to buy bows for the first time.
You hype them up on sugar and send them home with their mother. We're having our 4th in December. In fact, we're headed to Texas for a few months in December for it.
Oh yes, Joanne, I will be in Nashville. The only if she's due August 31st. So unless the baby comes early, I will definitely be in
I had such a good time in Nashville last time. I will everything in my power to get there again.
Yeah, it was really fun.
What was Nashville?
We had Phil, a group master resellers, and he did all the work. I was just agreeing with most. He had a bunch of resellers get together for a weekend, and they did some estate sales, some yard sales. It was Johnny had just found out she had breast cancer, so we weren't able to be there much. But there was 15 or 18 people total. So,
I think there was more than that.
Yeah, there was more than that.
A good time of people enjoying fellowship and fun. Estate sales, yard sales.
But we got together for dinners, and and a lot of us stayed at the same hotel. So we literally, we were up till about 2:00 in the morning in that lobby every night.
And if it's warm out, you go sit by the pool with a drink, and you're there till.
Well, he did it in October, and it wasn't so warm. So,
but it was. We had the best time.
This one will be August 23rd, 24th. Yeah. It'll be plenty warm there.
It'll be plenty warm.
And there was no pool, but whatever.
It's more. It was more of like the unconference. It's just more of the social, and then people were going this way and that way, so they kind of did things together. But it wasn't not a lot of formality other than, hey, let's all be here. And
the unconference is an amazing. If you don't go to something,
I'll tell you, I learned a lot just by hanging out with Arlen and
networking in the conference than anywhere else.
But the one thing I will tell you guys is the one thing, because this business can be, you can stay in your own lane and be very isolated and lonely with reselling. And truly, the relationships you make, that's another biggest benefit for me is the YouTube is the relationships. You can't imagine what you learn when you just hang out and talk to people. I mean, I know the chats are fun and you can learn a lot of stuff online, but when you physically are in the same room and doing the same, it brings another aspect of the level and a learning that is different. It's hard to explain, it's hard to quantify, but it's just, even at the conferences and stuff, most of the time these conferences I go to, I skip a lot of the classes
Yeah,
And
that's,
you learn so much from just talking to people and 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 about what you do, and they learn from you as well. Don't get me wrong, because you don't underestimate what you do and your abilities. But people are willing to share and talk about openly. Hey, I do this. Hey, I do that. And you would think, oh my God, we're such individualistic. That they're competition this, competition that, but it's people helping people. It's they're a lot of fun. I mean, truly, truly very rewarding.
I find people very open. I learn a lot.
All right, we'll put John on the clock. This is part of his 10 minutes.
When you're with somebody in person, and I think Scott said this before, they'll say things to you that they wouldn't say on YouTube or in a chat or something like that, because you develop a real relationship with somebody when you meet them in person, instead of, okay, I hang out with this person online all the time, that kind of thing. So I have a good friend. I've been doing a YouTube show with him since 2013 on another channel, another topic, and I've never met him in person. And I plan on going to meet him in person this year because it's important, and we'll have a whole different show when it's over with. I guarantee it.
And that's the one thing I'll tell you with the panel here today is I think the dynamic is, I mean, I'm not bragging. I like the dynamic of the four of us, because I've met all of y'all in person.
The only person I haven't met is John in person.
And so it makes a difference when internet relationships are fine, but there's something that's just absolutely. I think Justin's moving to Atlanta this summer. I think he's in Kansas City right now.
Oh, okay.
Here's what happens when you meet somebody in person. Sue, I was in the middle of Pittsburgh, in fact, Atwood Avenue in Pittsburgh, which is right by the University of Pittsburgh. And Sue's texting me, hey, look what I found, that kind of thing. You don't get that unless, you might get that interaction with somebody, but when you meet them in person, it's a whole different thing. And so you feel more free. And by the way, I got all your pictures. I just didn't have a chance to thank you for them. So you share more information when you have that. It's just, and I was scared to death to go to Nashville because my personality, my anxiety's bad, but you guys couldn't tell, could you, Sue?
No, and I told you that night, I was so surprised when you said that because it didn't show at all. Because to me, you were just like you were, on YouTube or whatever. Yeah,
but it's like I said earlier, getting out of your own way. And I was determined to go to Nashville to get over some of those issues. And guess what? It helped a lot. It helped a ton, just personally,
But you can't. So that's the one thing is, I talk to people. We're in this in a couple minutes. What's the difference about us and everybody else? We turn the freaking cameras on. It's not always easy, but the rewards are. I met Steve in person. Steve made it to Atlanta. Even the whole time he can't tell me, well, I'm not the greatest. I had that. I'm like, dude, you're awesome. I can't.
Has my attitude changed since the beginning? Yeah, a lot. I mean, I used to, and you used to tell me all the time, don't get so down on yourself, And just because of the reselling and meeting new people, I've changed a lot. My attitude has changed a lot. There's a guy that was on Saturday Night Live and it was just a joke, but he had Michael Jordan on and all that. But he did that, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. I remember that every day. That's what I say to myself every morning, because if I don't, then I'll slide back into that old Steve, and I don't want to be there,
Yeah, I've told you like 100 times. I'm like, Steve, I don't know why you're negative. You talk about it. Dude, you are killing it. You're awesome. You truly have people watch the show just for very calm demeanor, I'm telling you, and
I'm learning that, but it takes a long time. It takes a long time to get out of certain attitudes, right?
And you also need to bring out that the thing about the death pile thing that we talked about a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Really, that's going to help so many people, because I have a strange feeling there's a lot of people that there's more people like that than there are like me.
There probably are.
I think especially in this, I feel like when I meet people who are resellers, they tend to have that introverted, I mean, one of the reasons they're resellers is because they can sit in their basement and not have to talk to people.
Yeah, do sales and stuff that you don't have to. I purposely choose to do it online because they're so peoply. That kind of people ask me all the time, why don't you do local sales? I'm like, as much as it sounds weird, and I love YouTube and I love meeting other resellers and stuff, general public not so much.
Because people are stupid.
But in the video though, it was cool talking with the guy in Walmart.
Yeah,
he's like, I thought about
that was not staged.
Yeah, he said I've thought about it and done a little bit of selling on eBay, and it's interesting that you can buy stuff at Walmart and do it. And so that was kind of neat. But
I've told people all the time. I was buying. I'll show you what I was buying. If I can get over there. Oh, I bought like 50 of these Playtex sport things because they're discontinued. Now, this particular one was on Amazon and it got recalled because of that whole new IP thing that they're doing. But the lady's like, what are you doing with all those? And I told her. And she's like, well, I never thought of that, And so just that little seed in somebody's mind sometimes can get them started doing it too. If they're an entrepreneurial, I can't even speak this morning. You know what I mean? If they have even a little bit of seed of that, you can really help somebody just by mentioning what you do.
Starting to rain.
Yeah, it's starting to rain. Yeah, it's going to rain for like the next 4 days here.
We have had more rain this year.
Well, we're going to do breakfast because
I was going to say my wife's about to chew my arm off.
I'm on my way.
Hey, look forward to one thing we're going to start Monday. We've come up with this idea, just some different stuff, and anybody who wants to go along with us is more than welcome. John and I will be doing some shows together once a week, once every 10 days. The Resellers Keto Challenge. We're gonna do some keto and weight loss and stuff challenges between now and I'm sure when we're in Vegas we're gonna have to eat like rock stars, but then we can go right back to it. But
hey, I actually bought the 4 Hour Body. It's that same concept. And he's got some really good points in there. He talks about doing the 20%, same thing as the 4 Hour Work Week. I'm only about halfway through it, but it's a good book as well.
I'll have a nice juicy burger. Thank you very much.
It's keto-ish, but not as, so you might want to check that out too.
Yeah, and John yesterday was really talking to my brother. He's in the chat, just about because he wants to do YouTube as well. He'll have a completely different thing because he's gonna do things from the road in a van and have that's why
not with the dead bodies in the van.
Not the dead body van, no.
I just want to clarify that for people.
He actually is going to get a Sprinter van, and so it's not the same Ford van that he's off today. He doesn't have dead bodies today.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't want to be in the back of that van, but he is truly. But so he's going to do some live stuff too, and he was going to be here this weekend. We were going to drag stuff out of the building, and he was going to help me deal with all this, and we're going to just be live, and people could watch us deal with the junk. But now that we can't throw everything outside because it's going to rain for 4 days, we'll get to that soon. But
and there's one more thing coming. While we're revealing surprises, Scott forgot to mention that he's got a webinar coming up on video on VHS.
Oh, I do have
VCRs and the DVD players and the remote controls. He's going to be having a webinar that you're going to be able to sign up for. And he's going to sit there and teach you step by step all the way through, including the listings of it, how he finds them, why he prices them certain ways, how to ship them, which is a big part of it. That's coming up. So, guys, watch for his announcement because I am sure that's going to sell out quick. I'm sure of that.
Are you going to release it on VHS?
Hey, that might not be that.
Wubba Love beat you to it.
Oh, I missed it.
I can because we were talking about selling VHS tapes last night, and John goes, "I bet they're blank ones out there."
I bet you if you release it on beta, it would do really well.
Oh Lord, I've got a beta player here somewhere, unfortunately. So if it's time to get off our ass and go get breakfast.
Oh yeah, breakfast before work.
I appreciate you guys tuning in for this one. I really do think this is one of my better shows in a while, and I think I'm gonna, as the more we talk about, because I don't think anybody's talking about this upper level stuff, and we maybe for a little while we'll focus on some of this conversation because I think as long as getting you guys to think about it, it also helped the panel because we are all the same thing. Because in similar positions, especially Sue and I really can challenge each other to really, because we both love the same things and
you guys are right there about you're right at the same spot. Sue, I think Sue's a little ahead of you.
She is definitely a little ahead of me, but
really work together on ideas because you're right at that level together.
I'm pretty sure I was talking to you about CPA many times.
Yeah, and I've still got to get that all ironed out, but drag ourselves forward because truly the hunt is much more fun than the process.
But it is good to have somebody, that you can kind of push each other.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So, guys, have a great weekend. I don't know what kind of yard sale videos you're gonna get in the rain. Harlan's I think he might go to an auction. I don't need anything, so I don't know if I'll go or not.
He's not. Scott's not going.
Steve does has a channel. I didn't get the links in there yet because I got somebody was selling the last ones were broken, so I will put the links in the bottom. But Steve Alcorn Flips is that it?
That's it.
So just search for Steve Alcorn Flips.
Don't just search for my name because you.
He can type something in the chat, Steve. So you're like hit the little 3 dots. On the lookout for Officer Harlan. Guys have a great weekend. Thanks for the wonderful conversation in the chat, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yes, and happy Mother's Day to everybody.
I'll be lonely sitting here in the next one.
And watch for him to go live today. We will be popping up live on our channels.
Doing something.
Doing something. All right.
See you.
See you.